do the magic circle. Things you're going to need is yarn, hook, scissors, stitch marker, a 5mm prim hook, and my yarns. Take the yarn and pinch it between your thumb and your first finger. And I am right-handed, so I'm using the crochet hook on my right hand. Wrap the long end over the top, and then wrap it underneath. And with the same yarn, you're going to make an X. See how it looks underneath here? I'm holding it with my thumb, and I've wrapped it over and made an X on top. And I hold it down right here, I pinch it between my ring finger and my middle finger. So you've got this nice, neat little X here. And the first thing you want to do is put your crochet hook underneath the first, and then you're going to hook the yarn right here underneath that yarn. Okay, and when you bring it up, you'll see I'm twisting it like that when I bring it up. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. The next step, you're going to place your hook underneath the far yarn, which is attached to the yarn ball. You're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull it through your loop like that. So now that is the yarn, that is the magic circle that you've just created, and I just tightened it to basically secure it. And so now you can let go of your yarn. You can see how the magic circle is made. And then you would just pull on the yarn end here that's attached to the ball. Now you've made a circle. Okay, so let's do it again just to make sure you got it. So I'm going to go to take it apart. I'm just going to pull the two ends, make the X, put your yarn hook under, and grab the yarn and pull it through the loop. See, once you do that more and more often, just keep practicing that move, and it's going to get a lot faster for you. Okay, so now you have your loop, and what you're going to do is you're going to want to tighten that a little bit. It depends on how many stitches you're going to put inside the loop, but let's pretend we're making a ball. Okay, so a ball would start off with 6 single crochets. So you'll go ahead and wrap, I like to wrap the yarn around my pinky finger like that, and then put it across my fingers and hold it right here over my first finger. And then I'll simply hold the magic circle with pinched between my thumb and my middle finger, and I'll put my hook inside, yarn over, grab the yarn over, and do your first single crochet. And to make a ball, you're going to do 6 single crochets. So put your hook inside the middle again, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, and pull it through the 2 loops on your hook. And so now you have 2 single crochets. You can see them right here, 1 and 2. Let's do it again. So put your yarn and your hook in the middle, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, and you're going to go through the 2 loops on your hook. So now you have 3 single crochets. So let's do it again. Inside, yarn over, pull it through, go through the 2. It's 4. And now let's do it again. We're going to do 6 total. So here's your 5th, and your last one, go inside, yarn over, pull it through, and go through, and that's a total of 6. Okay, so then you just pull to close your magic circle. A little length here. Close your magic circle. You're going to grab the yarn end and just pull on it. And when you pull on it, I like to make sure that the stitches are staying straight up and down like this. And just yank on it a little bit there. You can see that the hole closed. Okay, well, you can go back and count our stitches to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your last one's right here, 6. So one tip that I like to use in Amigurumi or when you make a ball is you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into here. Or no, you're not going to slip stitch. You're going to go ahead and just start making your ball. And another method is that you slip stitch and then you chain 1. But the more seamless method to make a spiral is you're going to slip stitch, or you're going to just go right into your next single crochet like that. And so to keep track of where you are when you do your rounds is you use a stitch marker, and these can just be these cheap plastic, they look like safety pins, but they're made of plastic, and you just put that into the first stitch that you made. that marks the first stitch of your next round. Okay, so for this next round, we're going to do an increase. So we're making a ball, we're going to do an increase into each stitch. So you've done one into that stitch. So now into that exact same stitch, you're going to do another single crochet. Okay, so what we're doing is 2 single crochets into each stitch. So here's the next stitch, and you're just going to do 2 single crochets into there. And what I'm doing with the yarn end is I am just crocheting right over the top of that yarn end to kind of like weave it in and hide it. So we're continuing to do 2 single crochets into each stitch around. It's going to total 12 single crochets when you get to the end of this round. And so do 2 more here. And I'm just going to pull some yarn free from my yarn ball. And now let's do our last 2 stitches here. 1 and 2. And so let's go ahead and count so that you know you have 12. It's good to count periodically to make sure that you're on count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is your first stitch and the stitch marker. So for the next round, if you're making a ball, for example, we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet and then an increase, a single crochet and an increase. So I'll take off my stitch marker from the first stitch of the previous round. And you're going to do a single crochet first. And before you move on, the first thing you want to do is to put in that stitch marker. That marks your first stitch of the next round. So again, this round was single crochet and then an increase. So we're going to do 2 single crochets into the second stitch from the previous round. And then we're going to repeat that same pattern. So we do single crochet and then an increase. Single crochet and then an increase. And single crochet and then an increase. And let me get some yarn out of my ball here. And then we do single crochet and then an increase. And then our final single crochet and an increase. And that should total 18 single crochets when you've completed it. Okay, so let's go ahead and count to 18. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, the next round we're going to do, and let's pretend we're doing a ball. So we're going to just do a single crochet all the way around for the next 3 rounds to make the ball. So we do our first single crochet, and you're going to mark it, and then you're going to continue doing single crochet all the way around for 18 stitches, and you're going to do this for 3 rounds. And when you're done with those 3 rounds, we'll start decreasing. So let me just quickly do these so I can teach you how we do a decrease and also make a ball at the same time. So we'll continue with, we'll just do 1 round to kind of speed up the process. So it won't look like a ball, it'll be more like a flattened ball, because you kind of need the same amount of rounds to do those single crochets with no increases in order for the shape to look more like a ball. Okay, so we're finishing up this round, which is round number 4, with single crochet all the way around. And so you normally, to make a ball, would do that 2 more times to even it out and make it look more round shaped. But I want to teach you how to do a decrease. So with this next round, you're going to do a single crochet, and then what's called an invisible decrease. Now the invisible decrease, I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to do single crochet, and then the invisible decrease. What that looks like is you're going to put your hook through the stitch, you're going to pull the yarn in, and then you're going to go through the next stitch and pull the yarn in. Then you're going to close it by pulling through all 3 loops. And that is what a single crochet invisible decrease looks like. So let's do that pattern again. We did a single crochet, single crochet, and then invisible decrease. So to crochet this invisible decrease, you pull the yarn through the first stitch, and then you go through the next stitch, and you pull the yarn through, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's your decrease. And the reason they call it invisible decrease is because it's much more invisible and smooth, and it's nearly invisible looking than, say, your normal decrease. Okay, so for amigurumi that's important because you want it to look as seamless and smooth as possible, and to have a nice smooth looking amigurumi on the outside. So I like to keep my stitches tight as well in amigurumi to help decrease the gaps between the stitches. Okay, so what we can do next is kind of go over how you would continue building upon, the circle if you wanted to. So let's get rid of that decrease round. And if you wanted to, for example, keep going around and building up your spiral so that your piece stays flat but continues to grow outward, you would have to basically increase evenly throughout. So the first round we just did 6 single crochets in the middle, and then the second round we did a single crochet and then an increase, a single crochet, then an increase. So it went from 12 to 18. So you increased by 6 single crochets. And then the third round you did single crochet, increase, and that was a total of 24 stitches. Again, a number of 6 single crochet increase. And so then the next round would be single crochet, increase, and that'd be 24, and so on. So you keep adding 6, and you keep adding the number of single crochets before you do the increase. So we started with just 6 single crochets, and then we did 1 single crochet and an increase, and then we did 2 single crochets and an increase, then we do 3 single crochets and an increase, and then we do 4 single crochets and an increase. See how I keep increasing it there? And that increases your total count of stitches by 6 each time. So it would basically be, it's like a math game. It's like 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, and so on. Stitches look really different. This is the right side, as you would call it. See how it's like this? And then the wrong side, see how the stitches look different there? That's called the wrong side of your work, and this is the right side of your work. And so you'll see it starts folding one way or the other, and so the right side is this way. So when I start crocheting, I usually like to bend it so the right side's out, and I just start crocheting all the way around. Let's just go over the tips again real quick. It's really important to use a stitch marker. These things are super cheap and they're easy to use. If you lose it, whatever, it's really cheap, and usually when you buy them they come in a big pack. So use that, place it on the first stitch of each round to help you keep track and to help maintain count. And then I like to go back and count my stitches regularly just to make sure that I'm keeping an accurate count of my stitches and to help prevent any sort of shape distortion, and just make sure that I'm increasing properly and decreasing all these things. And that's how you start shaping amigurumi, is by increasing, decreasing in different ways that it creates your circle to be different shapes and to grow into a toy or amigurumi or an animal shape. When it comes to amigurumi, instead of doing a slip stitch and then a chain 1, it's better to just continue doing single crochet around evenly, and that helps make it more seamless looking. And so we were practicing the method where you don't slip stitch and chain to join, you just kept going around in a circle, but a spiral. And that's why these stitch markers are really important, because otherwise it'd be impossible to know, it'd be really difficult to know where you started, which one was your first stitch. So that's why I use a stitch marker with these things. And then there are times though, like when I make a rug or if I'm making some sort of circular thing, that I would join with a slip stitch and then do a chain 1. The next tip I wanted to say is using yarn under versus yarning over. Yarning under helps, basically, it uses a little bit less yarn, so it actually decreases the spaces in between. See, I use yarn over, so, if I use yarn under, you would have even less spaces in between. So then when you do stuffing for your toy, your amigurumi, you'll see less, it's more likely that you'll see less stuffing poking through your toy when you use yarn under, because it makes it a little tighter and a little smaller. I also recommend that when you do amigurumi that you actually use a hook that's smaller than the recommended size for your yarn. So this yarn is worsted weight or 4, so it recommends a 5 or 5.5 millimeter hook. So when you're doing amigurumi, I would go down to a 3.75, around there, and that actually makes your stitches even tighter and smaller. And then you do yarn under, and then it makes it even smaller, so then your amigurumi, your stuffing really won't show through in your amigurumi. Well, I hope that was helpful for people after the fact, and that's all I had. So thanks for those who did join.